welcome to another episode of the Hardee Huddle, Wildcat Nation's newest and most popular source for all things involving Hardee athletics. From the Little League dugout to the varsity locker room, the Hardee Huddle is here to cover, highlight, and report on sports scores, news, and program information that helps both you, the student athlete, and the community stay informed and engaged. If you want to be in the know, then you got to be in the huddle. So huddle up. For up-to-date information, visit us on social media in the following platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and X. To contact us, send us an email at thehardeehuddle@gmail.com. And now, it's game time! Well, hello, and happy Milton, happy Monday, everybody. Boy, we got a lot to cover this morning. Well, first and foremost, I guess I should say welcome to another edition of the Hardee Huddle Podcast here on Spotify and YouTube. What? I am your host, Ryan Abbott, and today is a little bittersweet. I'm just going to call it like it is, y'all. We do have some Wildcat sports recaps to get to, but we also have another storm headed our way. I don't want to dance around and sugarcoat this too much, but we will talk a little bit about that here in a little bit. But you know what? Before we get into the heavy stuff, let's have a little fun. Let's recap last week. Here are your scores, your stats, and your program reports from last week. We will start with golf. I didn't have much for Tuesday. But I did have the privilege to head over to River Greens on Thursday. For those of you that know what I do for a living, the courthouse was closed on Thursday, and I didn't have anything on my schedule. So I got a chance to look at the calendar and said, what do I want to go today? And it just so happens that I got a chance to hang out with my good buddies at the radio station down there at 102.1, The Outlaw. That is the radio home for Wildcat Sports. Shout out to JJ, Carlos, or as I like to call him, Saul, and Mr. Chet Huddleston. I got a chance to sneak in and get on the radio for a bit, and that was a ton of fun. I can't wait to go back. Thank you guys so much for being incredible hosts. So yeah, I got the chance to do that Thursday morning. And then Thursday afternoon, I went over to River Greens to catch the high school golf team. Both boys and girls were playing Frostproof there at River Greens. And then I got a chance to do a turn and burn, hot-foot it right on back to Wildcat Stadium to catch the JV football game. So, that was a lot going on. But at any rate, I'll get back to golf. Coach Spencer was telling me that we had a tough go against the Blue Streaks on Tuesday, but Thursday was awesome. I'm just going to go over my notes real quick here. Shout out so much to the coaches. I have for the girls team, Mr. Dennis Albury, and for the boys team, Cody Spencer, and also the golf coach and technical advisor for the teams, Mr. Thomas Trevino. Wildcat team looked really good, y'all. I'm a hobby golfer by trade, but I really, really enjoyed watching the maturity, the professionalism, and the decorum that was kind of given to the game of golf by our Wildcat team. Very well done, ladies and gentlemen. I do have to admit that I was on the golf cart there on hole number 2. If you've played River Greens, you kind of know where hole number 2 is. It kind of wraps back around, goes west. I watched Ben Trevino throw a dart from about 130-ish, 140 yards out from the middle of the fairway. He put it within 3 foot of the pin, and that was probably the most impressive shot that I saw all day. I'm not sure what club choice he had there. I would love to hear back from him on that, actually. But he dropped it in there, a nice, easy putt. I believe it was birdie. I think he birdied that hole, actually. So yeah, just short of holding out, that was pretty awesome. Another great showing also, Raymond Norris and Sam Palmer both played consistent golf, man, from what I saw. Sam made a great shot coming down the hill there at hole number 6. It's a long straight. I believe it's just a long par 4. It probably should be a 5. But at any rate, I think it's a long par 4. And he hit a really clean second shot. The ball landed just right of the fringe there on the green, just short of the green, rather, right of the fringe. Very easy left-handed swing as well. Nice, easy chip up and over the fringe, man. He got it down in there and one putt for par. Great look, young man. Very clean, very crisp. I'll give you that one, man. And also a shout out to Miss Genesee Trevino, which is Ben's sister. Very strong off the tee box. Very strong drive, very aggressive drive. I would even say it's commanding. I saw her middle iron game was really good, nice and clean. Gave her a chance for a lot of pars. She was, I think it was hole number 3. No. Hole 5. It's a short par 3. I mean, again, throwing darts. I guess that's what this family does. But very well done, very crisp. And also shout out to Miss Marty Edenfield. I like to call her Marty Sue. But she may not have had the cleanest game of the day, but one thing that kept catching my attention was she was all smiles, all laughs, great attitude on the course, and that's somebody that you enjoy playing golf with. You kind of, obviously, the competition, you want to remain respective of the decorum and quiet and all that stuff, but Marty, she's here for the giggles and the fun, man. Hit that little white ball, go find it, hit it again, and that's the kind of people I play with. So again, I do want to say that if you are listening to this, golf crew, any of y'all, I don't care who you are, if you want to throw down on the golf course, let me know anytime. I'm like the old Western movie guy that have gun will travel. I got a bag full of clubs just waiting for an invite. So anytime y'all want to go, you let me know, and I'll see if I can make that happen, because I'm ready to hit the ball again. But speaking of making it happen, our volleyball girls had a magical night for senior night this past Thursday. They had a rough go earlier in the week, Monday, Tuesday, going 0-2 against, Lakewood Ranch and DeSoto. But let's talk senior night. Incredible atmosphere. I saw the video with the Blue Star Brigade. More on them later, actually, too. I need to touch on them later. But they showed up to the gym and gave these ladies a beautiful farewell home meet match, or a game, rather. Just completely changed the atmosphere. They brought the hype to the crowd. They brought the noise. They brought the energy. And I have some notes here from Coach Dixon. She says that Thursday night was electric. She says, thank you so much to the community who showed up to make this night special for the girls who have worked hard all season. Also, again, thank you to the Blue Star Brigade. And another thank you to the Air Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, Hardee High School's JROTC unit. Their honor guard and color guard presented the colors, and they gave the game a much needed and much appreciated honored opening. So well done to ROTC. I see here it was very cool to see Lena Canary up off the bench. I know she's been riding the pine this year. She's had a nagging lower leg injury that she's been kind of nursing and trying to get back to 100%. But she comes off the bench ready to do business for senior night, provided a strong presence on the front row, lots of blocks and sets. Alexandra Wallace, senior, another season highlight, serves that included aces and additional points on the board. Well done, Alexandra. Senior KK DeLeon played well all around, serving, defense, and offense, which was highlighted with 2 major blocks that preserved the Wildcat lead. That's high praise, young lady. Well done. And senior Jasmine Tomas was a model of consistency with serving and dependable back row defense, setting up lots of plays for the front. So well done, and congratulations to our seniors, our volleyball seniors. And I have the list here once again. Michaela DeLeon, KK, Alexandra Wallace, Lena Canary, Sugar Bloss, and Jasmine Tomas. So congratulations, ladies. I see here that the Lady Cats are scheduled to wrap up their regular season this week with games at Lake Placid and Lakewood Ranch. However, due to this storm, a lot of things are up in the air right now, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. But speaking of changes, the cross-country meet was also scheduled for tomorrow, being Tuesday. It has now been moved to Monday, October 21st. So if you're sitting there with pen and pad in hand, like I know a lot of you are, make sure you mark that down on your calendar. The cross-country home meet, the Wildcat Invitational, is on Monday, October 21st. And, I'm just going to go ahead and start talking about them, too, while we're here on this point. Cross country, this hardworking crew has been a little quiet on the schedule this week. I didn't see a meet on the schedule. I think junior high had a meet up at Holloway Park. But you know what? After that ice cream run they had, it's hard to imagine that whatever Coach Davenport has in store for this team. And I have no doubt whatsoever these guys and girls are going to be ready for the Wildcat Invitational. So hats off to you guys. I can't wait to see you. I am making plans to be there. So we'll see how that goes. Moving on to swim. You know what? This group had a rough go. And I'll just be honest with you guys. This has been a really weird year for weather. We're from Florida. Yes, we expect it and we anticipate it to be hot. We anticipate it to rain a little bit in an afternoon, and we just kind of, plan for those contingencies. But this has been next level awkward. Like, there's so many days in a row of rainouts and lightning and just, it's crazy. The schedule can only move so much, right? It can only move back because you're going to start inching into the beginning of the winter sports. So we're going to have to start being like an accordion, as it were, and cram all this stuff together and start having some potential, Saturday games, Wednesday games. I don't know. It's a possibility. So more on that, but make sure you guys stay tuned in to the Hardee Huddle, man. Whatever I hear coming from the athletics directors and the Hardee Athletics department, for whatever reason, which I'm cool with, I've kind of become the de facto in-between liaison guy. But I'm cool with that, 100% cool with that. So whatever they send me, I send you guys. So just make sure you stay in the huddle, stay connected on Facebook and Instagram for any updates. And as soon as I get them, y'all, I send it. So stay connected with us. But let's go back to swim. We went down to Lake Placid twice this week. Tuesday, we made it. We were on 66. We made it all the way almost to 27, and we got that text message, hey, it's been canceled. Okay, all right, turn around, come home. Well, Thursday, I was looking at the weather, and I said, well, I'm going to go to Avon Park because they tee off at 4 o'clock, the golf team, and I'll catch them for a little bit, and then I'll run down 27 to Lake Placid, and I'll be there for the swim meet when they get kicked off between 5:30 and 6. Well, weather kicked in down south, and they went ahead and canceled the meet while I was still in Avon Park. So I did the turn and burn from Avon Park back to catch the football game because swim was canceled. So, it's one of those things where you can only do so much, the weather will allow you to do, I guess. But anyway, they were able to practice, which I'm grateful for because we actually hosted one of the more important meets to me and a lot of us in the swim world, the Dick Daggett Invitational, or as a lot of people refer to it as the Dick Daggett Memorial Swim Meet. And I would love to, I don't have enough time today, but I would love to go into detail how much Coach Daggett meant to me and everything that he did for me in my swim career. But as a former swim cat who swam for Coach Daggett, it's really, really cool to see so many people come back out and pay a tribute to such a wonderful human being. And I know that his daughter was there, Miss Crutchfield. It was really great to see everybody in attendance who was able to come. But also Coach Brittany Campos. She was also a swim cat, swam for Coach Daggett. So we get a chance to put on this event, and it was really, really cool. I know the likes of Avon Park and Bartow and Kathleen, Lake Placid. Who else was there? Lake Region. Everybody that was in attendance. Very well done. Very, very, very well done, guys. We actually did the diving competition was on Friday night, which both divers from Kathleen, they were a brother and sister duo. I did not have their names, so I apologize, but they were lights out. Phenomenal divers, well deserved. They walk away with a trophy for diving. But enter Saturday morning, the swim competition, Hardee ran the table on everybody. So as you've heard me talk about it before, there's 3 categories in which you score in swimming. You have the boys team, the girls team, and the overall team collective, and we won all 3. So the hardware, those big, beautiful trophies that you saw, the pictures that I put on Facebook, they stay at home. Thank God, because they're beautiful, and we are so proud to have them. Dick Daggett's name is on them, and they are staying home. So, Coach Brittany, if you're listening, we got to build some more shelves, sister, because we are running out of room. We got lots of hardware on the pool deck office, and it is a good problem to have. But speaking of, I see we have now won 2 of the 4 big events this year, that being the Blackman Relays and the Dick Daggett Invitational. So we've got 2 more to go, y'all. We have the Heartland Invitational, which is supposed to be this weekend, and then we have Districts, which we host at the end of the month. So there's a lot going on this month. I really hope the weather, allows us to do what we're hoping and wanting to do. That's our selfish prayer and desire there. But hey, Districts, we're ticking down, man. We're officially 3 weeks away, and it's getting good at the pool, y'all. So if you've never been, now's a good time to come on down and see it, because it's good. So speaking of good, let's go junior high softball. I love you guys. So big. Coach Caitlin, Coach Kim, our hearts go out to you guys, because much like our JV crew, JV football guys, we just want to play, right? And last week is no different. We had some rainouts, and we had some lightning, we had some issues. So speaking to that schedule change that I was referring to, we have to kind of like accordion and cram this thing in. They were supposed to play tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and it looks as, I don't know if they're going to get Monday's game off or not. I hope they can. It's down in DeSoto at 6 p.m. I'm still waiting to hear back from the coaches on that. But as it stands right now, I just don't know, but it looks like it's going to be another week of cancellations or postponements. So once I get some information from the junior high, I'm sure they're going to put it out there, because they do a great job. The junior high athletics department does a wonderful job of putting out info. So make sure you follow along if you're interested in this particular group. This is a feisty group of young ladies who play very good, gritty softball. They're a lot of fun to watch, and they're a lot of fun to support. So I love you guys. I certainly hope you can get your games in, but it looks like maybe next week. I don't know. It just kind of depends on what Hurricane Milton does and what the damage looks like afterwards. So again, we're all kind of in a holding pattern, waiting to hear back. And that brings me up to junior high football. Same story. Last Tuesday, our swim cats were down there in Lake Placid. We did the turn and burn. I think we got all the way to 66-27, thinking, well, that's a wash. That's over. Well, maybe we have time to make it down to DeSoto and catch the junior high football game. So we started hoofing it back to 66 there in Zolfo, and it seemed like shortly thereafter we started getting updates from them like, hey, don't head this way, because they got to play one quarter, and then lightning caught up, and then they had to postpone that one as well. So just all the way around, it's really hard to try to navigate the sports season right now because of all the weather interruptions. But what are you going to do? It looks as though they were going to try to make up that game again tonight, Monday, October 7th at DeSoto. Again, I just don't know what I don't know, and I'm still waiting to hear back from Coach Izai. I would like to think they're going to try to play it to get it in, but then again, I don't know. With schools being, come to think of it, I think DeSoto is actually closed all week. I know our kids are going to school Monday today, so you know what? I think that might be a wash. I don't think they're going to be able to play that game tonight. So at any rate, once again, this week is a wash. They were supposed to play Thursday here at home against Lakeland Christian for the Pink Out in support of breast cancer awareness. But because of, once again, Hurricane Milton, him doing his thing, man, it breaks my heart for everybody, because believe you me, I don't want this hurricane either. It's such an inconvenience, and it's an aggravation. We've all lived through them. We're from here. We know how to do this, but it just stinks all the way around. But you know what stinks? That's little boys' shoulder pads, helmets, and socks. And that's where I'm going next. We're going to go rec league, y'all. Rec league football. This is a gritty bunch of boys that are a lot of fun to watch. I love the little guys. Flag football is so cool. They actually got a chance to host this week here at Wildcat Stadium on Saturday morning, and they were playing host to the Inglewood Cats. That little youth league down there in Inglewood way. And I can vouch for this, y'all. I was on the pool deck Saturday morning for our swim meet, and it was cooking. You hear me? It was cooking down there. So I can only imagine being down there in the bowl at the bottom of Wildcat Stadium and what it felt like. I'm sure it was steamy, hot. So, but despite the heat, our boys did in fact defend the den. We were able to hold them off, and our boys held the high ground. So home was defended. I see here's some scores coming in. 6U, which is flag. 24-0. These boys are undefeated. That's right. They are some monsters. These boys know how to play, and they're fast too. We got some quick little dudes on this squad. So they held them off 24-0. Our 8U team won 13-10 in a nail biter. I heard this was a very good game, back and forth, and defense holds strong. Well done, boys. Our 10U team comes out on top 26-6, and 12U holds the fort at 47-0. Have mercy. That is a barn burner of a football game. So well done, 12U. And I know a lot of these guys play junior high as well, so if they're not getting their games in on an afternoon or evening, at least they're getting some game time on the gridiron on their Saturday mornings. So that's good stuff. The next series of games is tentatively scheduled for this coming weekend in Lakewood Ranch, but let's not get too excited just yet. There's a lot left to ponder with this storm that's coming. So once we do know something, we'll certainly send it out. But that's all I got for now when it comes to Little League sports. So I'm going to take a short break here just to say thank you. Thank you to Mr. Thomas Trevino and the guys down at Kimbrough for their incredible gesture of securing a video board for Wildcat Stadium. This is a great move to bring a little modern twist to our beautiful old stadium that is so rich in tradition and history. I think the girls and the guys who are going to be playing there for years to come, whether it's football or soccer or whatever, along with the fans in attendance, they're really going to enjoy this new feature, and I can't wait to unveil it, to get this thing plugged in, flip the switch, and see what we can do with it. But also thank you again to the guys down at WAUC 1021 The Outlaw for their continued support for the Hardee Huddle and for partnering with us. I've heard nothing but compliments and great feedback regarding the Wildcat Rewind show that airs 30 minutes ahead of kickoff each Friday, and it serves kind of like as a pregame show for the Wildcat football coverage, because WAUC 1021 is in fact the radio home of Wildcat sports. So yeah, there you go. Thank you guys so much. I love y'all. Speaking of JV football, I had the pleasure of making it back in time to get up in the press box and catch the whole game. It was so nice to finally see our guys play. But it didn't come with just skating free, you know what I mean? Like we had to, once again, play victim to weather a little bit. So we played for a little while. We had about a 45-minute delay, give or take, and then we finally got a chance to get back up and running at about 8:20 p.m. It was so crazy. But we did play host to the Sebring Blue Streaks. I feel like these guys played like a bunch of caged dogs. You finally let them out, and they just go. They just want to play so bad. It was really kind of cool to see. Much love and appreciation goes out to all of you coaches and players and managers. You've worked so hard all year to get to this moment, and I'm just so glad you got your chance under the lights, y'all. I really am. I was really proud to see some athletic QB play out of Wesley Cornelius, our freshman. I didn't know much about this young man playing football coming in. I do know he's a good baseball player, but it was really cool to see him use his legs, do some scrambling, run a little bit, and throw on the run at that. A lot of potential there. I see a lot of upsides. Well done, Wes. I really like it, brother. Everything I saw was great. Excellent effort on both sides of the ball, too, by running back, middle linebacker Seth Mullins. To play a hard game like that both ways, offense and defense, and gritty at that, run downhill. The guy's not afraid to hit, not afraid to get hit. That's the kind of stuff we like to see. It's good to have you back on the field, brother. I know you weren't with us for spring ball doing the track thing, and you do you, boo, but, it's really good to see you back wearing a helmet and doing your thing on the gridiron, brother. It's really good to see, actually. I would even give another shout out here to our tight end wide receiver core, Mr. JT Thomas. I know you're one of our 6-quarter guys as well. JT, Abed Schwiel, and DJ Wortham. DJ, my man, another 6-quarter player. All of you guys had a couple of catches, sure hands by this group. You really give your QB a lot of confidence, the ability to roll out and throw and do that kind of stuff. It makes all the difference in the world to have a team like that trying to find their identity, I think. And also, big shout out to Mr. Caleb Hughes. I see my man rocking the 6 quarters as well, varsity and JV, getting some playing time there, and actually taking care of your QB. My man is a brick wall on the O-line. Good to see you working, dude. I like it. I'm really encouraged by this young group of guys. They do appear hungry and eager to join the ranks of varsity. And Wildcat football, the future looks bright. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Well done, gentlemen. I'm looking forward to it. And, speaking of varsity, They were on the road this week up to Sumter County to take on the Wildwood Wildcats for a Friday night cat fight. We didn't know much about this team ahead of time, in terms of X's and O's. But this was a game that comes off the heels of a makeup game that our guys played on Monday night against Mulberry. And that was, if you were in attendance, if you know, that was a rough game to kind of watch. I know the final score was 24-0. We were 6-0 at half, and it seems like our guys, there's only so much you can do, after a while, and defense kind of starts to get tired, and then it just chip away. And then, of course, you add in some injuries to that, which shout out to Mr. Dalen Yates. We love you, brother. We know you took a hard shot out there on the field, and Meat Wagon had to come get him up. But, much love and prayers to you, my man. Whatever's going on with you medically, we hope you guys get it ironed out. I heard that surgery might actually be in play. I don't know that for a fact, but if that is the case, prayers of healing and restoration to you and your body, young man. We'd love to see you back on the field soon. I'm going to go ahead and spoil it for you guys. We went up to Wildwood, and the final score was 28-7. We took a hard loss up there. It's a 2.5-hour bus ride, so already you're just that's a hard way to play, when you go that far, and your schedule's all jacked up, your travel, your eat, your warm-up, get ready. And it's just hard. There's no way else to say that, but, what else can we say? Is the win-loss record what we had all hoped or anticipated it would be? No, it's not. It's not even close. But, as a fan, it stings a little bit. As an alumni, it stings a little bit. But there's a silver lining here. And I don't want you guys to miss this. There's something beautiful here. When I was talking to Coach Brian earlier in the season, he was very transparent with me, and I appreciate him for that. It was one of those things where he's not a big proponent of having his guys speak to media, let alone let media have as much access as I have, and that has not gone wasted on me. And I certainly want him to know that I appreciate that, and I definitely don't want to do anything that's going to be detrimental to that relationship, and I don't want you guys to get the impression that I'm lying either. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to call it like I see it. I think Coach Brian would appreciate that, and my honesty and transparency. But at the same time, I want these guys to understand what I see from my perspective is I see a bunch of young men who are being coached through an adverse season. And I mean that by, it's not that the wins and losses need to be championed or showcased as much, because at the end of the day, we all love to celebrate the wins and we all love to learn from the losses. But I want to take the wins and loss columns out of this, and I want everybody listening to me to hear that the young men in that locker room know very well what the win and loss record is. But what I see and what I hear is young men learning how to overcome adversity. Our coaches are coaching them so intently and diligently. There's not a coach in that room that I have not seen or heard sitting around that war room table struggle with the same questions that we're all asking. How do we fix this? How do we do this? How do we do that? How do we get better? Well, you do the next thing. You play the next play. You huddle up and say, hey, here's an adjustment. Here's a change. Here's a this. Here's a that. And then they run it, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But what I do love, what I see out of this coaching staff, out of this team, is there is an understanding that, yes, this year is not the year we wanted in terms of wins and loss, but what our young men are getting out of this season is so valuable for their future. It is so valuable for the rest of their existence, whether they go on to play at the next level, whether they go on to become coaches themselves, or like me, maybe they go on to father children who are going to come back and play as legacies for our beloved program, and they need to hear the stories about how to overcome adversity. What did you do to overcome that season, or what did you do to overcome that feeling of failure, or how did you get over that hump of stagnation where it's like, what, I'm doing everything I can, but we're not getting the results. So how do you do that? And I draw back on some of those conversations I had previously with the likes of Mr. Kellen Lindsay, or Miss Adriana Meir, or Mr. Paul Samuels, people that have come and gone and worn the Wildcat colors before, and they all say the same thing. You cannot let the result dictate your desire. You can't let the result dictate your drive to do this, or your love or your passion for the game. So if there's anything that I can give you, the listening audience, for this football season, it would be that nothing has changed from the culture of Hardee Wildcat football, and nothing will change for the culture of Hardee Wildcat football, because wins or losses aside, we're going to play Wildcat football, and that is something that has not changed that I've seen or heard. So I do give kudos and credit to the coaching staff, to the young men who want to suit it up every week, who want to put that uniform on and go to war on the gridiron, despite whatever the record may or may not be. So I love you guys. I thank you so much for continuing to gut it out and not quitting. You know, it's hard when you go into that locker room and you go to strap it on, you know, tying up your cleats and putting that helmet on. You're like, hey, it's a 50-50. Let's go. Just line it up and play it. You know, what I think one of the cool things about being in the situation we're in, we get a chance this year now to kind of play the spoiler. You know, we're that team where we are indeed good enough because we've seen it. You know, especially like the Fort Meade game. What a beautiful game that was, or even Avon Park. Like when everything's clicking, this is a very good offense. It could be like the wrinkles are there. You know, so we get a chance to play spoiler. You know, we get a team that comes in and, you know, they're riding high and heavy thinking Hardee ain't much this year. Well, guess what? At any given day, we can ruin your season. And I think that's something that I think the guys are starting to pick up on is, you know what? We're going to go play because we love it, and we're going to play Wildcat football, and whatever comes of it, that's what happens. So if you haven't bought a ticket yet to the games this year, I think you should, because what you're missing out on is some really good football by a bunch of really good guys who are learning how to do this the hard way. And it's an honor and a privilege for me to get a chance to showcase what they do week in and week out. And it's an honor to know them, to get to hang out with them and champion high school athletics. So I love you guys. I hope you all start to heal up a little bit more. And speaking of, I'll talk to that here pretty quick too. We do have a lot of injured Wildcats right now. Our roster seems to get longer each week. Touch on some names here. Jaron Wood, Felix Rubinos, Dalen Yates, Sean Cherry, Will Cornell, Jamison Bell. All these guys were out in Wildwood for one reason or another. Some of them pretty serious injuries, like Mr. Will Cornell, done for the season. You know, he's already had surgery with his knee. I think it was an ACL or PCL, maybe a combination of. He got some stuff torn in there. But I love you, buddy. I saw you on the sidelines cheering your guys on, and the road to recovery is long, I understand, but much love and support to you, my man. And also, I heard Mr. Dalen Yates, he's going to be out for the season as well. I don't know the prognosis or the long term for this young man, but whatever it is, buddy, we're praying for you and support of you. I know Felix was out with a concussion protocol, so man, I hope you get that right. Take care of yourself. I know they're taking much better care of our athletes these days than they did when I was coming up, just because education is so much different and medical response to different injuries. So take care of yourself, young man. Do everything you're supposed to do. Mr. Jaron Wood, I know he's got like a shoulder issue going on, but rest up, man. We need you back. We really need you back. Sean Cherry, I know it's like a lower leg issue, maybe an ankle or a knee or something. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to talk to him yet. And, of course, Jameson Bell, a nagging shoulder injury he picked up at practice a couple of weeks ago. So he's a big body that we really need him to get back in there, get some work done. So lots of seniors on that list, too, and a lot of talented young men who can create big holes when they're out. So I hope and pray these guys get it right. But you know what? Looking ahead, this was supposed to be an exciting week filled with anticipation for homecoming and the possibility of hosting the Williston Red Devils on Friday night, and having that homecoming parade on Friday and the kids being out. But I'm going to go ahead and address the elephant in the room and talk about the ever-growing storm that's out there in the Gulf. Our school leadership has elected to take an avenue of caution and preparation for this massive storm. And in doing so, they've canceled all games and all school activities this week, which, I honestly can't fault them for that, knowing full well the world of liability and safety that I happen to work in. When in doubt, it's always better to err on the side of caution. So that being said, I have in fact received word from the Hardee athletic directors. There will be no games or practices on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of this week. So that being said, no football on Friday night and no homecoming parade or activities, no homecoming dance on Saturday. The principal at Hardee High School, Coach Tubbs, if you know him as Coach Tubbs, he would like for me to relay to everyone that the homecoming activities are postponed. All right, not canceled, they're just postponed. So once the storm passes and we assess everything, a new date will be established. So, don't go return that pretty dress you bought. And guys, make sure you get an extension for the flowers or for the corsage that you might have purchased. So don't panic. Nobody panic just yet. It's just postponed, all right? Now, there is a possibility, albeit the percentage is, call it 50-50 right now, but if the damage around the area is not devastating, there is a chance that Saturday morning we could have another football game. So, again, nothing is official, so don't get excited. Don't go on GoFan, purchase tickets yet. I'll know more about that later this week. So stay plugged in, stay in the huddle. I will share with you guys as much up-to-date information and recent information as I can, just as soon as I get it. So keep an eye on Facebook, keep an eye on Instagram, and all those news alerts and updates and things, I'll be happy to share them once I get them. But since we're talking about hurricanes, I know that everyone's anxiety is up and the concern is great. But if you will, just allow me for a moment to kind of give you guys a little reassurance and a little hope during our time together here. If you are a Hardee native, or even a Florida native, full well that hurricanes are something that we have to contend with while living in this beautiful state. It's paradise for a reason. One of the upsides to living in Florida is year-round weather that allows for sports, and that's a gift that not everyone has in this country. We don't have to contend with snow and ice and all those things. So one of the offsets of that privilege is the possibility of major weather interruptions. I'm a lot like you guys. I don't want this thing. I don't need a hurricane in my life right now. I just don't. But, if I may be a voice of reason and reassurance, there is nothing we can do to stop it, to prevent it, or even change its course, but we do have one another. And I'm calling on all of you Wildcats to huddle up right now and listen to what I'm saying. All right. Let's huddle up and help one another. And how can we do that? I'm going to call it our keys to victory, all right, to defeat the hurricane situation. So let's talk before the storm first, before kickoff, right? Boarding up residents and businesses, checking on neighbors, checking on your loved ones, caring for those that can't care for themselves. Make notes of, some of the homebound people that might need a little assistance. Let us know who they are. Reach out to Send Me Missions or Hardee Help Center and some of those places that afford resources for stuff like that. Being prepared does not mean panicking and instilling fear in other people. All right, don't harp on all the negative stuff. We see the radars. We see the wind, the different the forecast models and the rainfall and all that. Let's help our community by helping each other remain calm and reassured. If you think that you need to go to a shelter, then by all means go to one. That's why they're there. You might even see me at one, to be fair. And if you do, come say, hey, let's talk sports. I mean, what else are we gonna do? It's a hurricane. Let's talk football. Let's talk softball, swimming. I got you, dude. Let's talk it. So that brings me to my next point. Key number 2 during the storm is stay calm. As cliche as that is, and as dumb as it is for me to say that out loud, because believe me, I'm saying it for me, y'all. I'm saying it for me too. Once the weather starts to get a little worse, we really can't do anything but wait it out anyway, right? So if you have board games and card games or candles for lighting, maybe a good book, maybe some crafts, arts and crafts, play with the kids. Kids are great. They're a great distraction. I got a couple of them, believe me. Keep your hands and your minds busy, and you can do that by serving one another, through something fun that distracts you from the weather outside. So those are things you can do during the storm, but also, mind all emergency notifications and follow any directions given by official news outlets and your local government. So just stay in touch, assuming that we don't lose our cell towers and things like that. Just stay connected, stay informed, but stay calm. And then that brings me to my last point. The key to success here is after the storm. Please, 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 hear my heart behind this. As a first responder by day and a sports media celebrity by night, apparently, I beg of you to please be kind, not only to one another, but to your first responders, your linemen, your government officials, people who are really trying to figure out how to help. And I know that in our generation, it's really hard to get impatient really quick because we grew up with microwaves. But let's not assume that we're going to get a meal in 2 minutes. All right, this is a bit of a process. So I'm just asking you on behalf of me personally, of my profession, of the people that I work with, but also on behalf of the Hardee Huddle, y'all, let's please be kind. All right. If you were around after Hurricane Charlie in 2004, you already kind of know how this goes. These are not days for us to be hateful, spiteful, and impatient. It just doesn't help. It really doesn't. I humbly ask you all that, just appreciate that what we have after the fact, that we made it through, right? And that's something to hang our hat on and be appreciative of. So I hope you all join with me in praying that, good Lord willing, this storm loses strength, and passes us quickly with minimal damage. But from me and my house, I do pray for blessings upon you all physically. I hope you all stay safe, and I hope that your homes stand strong and sustain no damage. If you do happen to need restorative services post-storm, be careful with the traveling handymen who kind of pop up out of nowhere and claim to be legitimate, and working, and they only end up scamming you. So y'all just please be cognizant and be careful of that. Reach out to the appropriate services, who I'm sure will have information readily available on social media. Send Me Missions is a great place for resource information. You can find them on Facebook at Send Me Missions. That's 3 different words, Send Me Missions. The Hardee Help Center is also another great place, another great organization that'll be out post-storm. But also please join me in praying for our first responders, our emergency crews, medical staff, and most of all, our restoration crews from, the guys at the county road and bridge who don't get any love. They're going to be out cleaning up the roads and getting rid of debris. Countless number of power line companies and work crews. They're all going to be working around the clock to restore power and give us a sense of normalcy back. I'll leave you with this. All right. We're getting close to the end of our time together. I'll leave you with this. We are Wildcats. And I don't mean that cliche. I mean that we're Wildcats. And there is nothing that brings out the best in us quite like a challenge. This is not going to be any different. So I'm looking for a big turnaround here, a big second half comeback, if you will, for a sports analogy. Y'all just keep your heads up, follow the instructions, stay safe, stay calm, and hopefully very soon I will see you guys on the sidelines. That's all I got for today's Hardee Huddle. I'm Ryan. I love you guys, and I'm going to try my best to do like a Friday something special. It just kind of depends on how busy we get around the sheriff's office. If I have time, I'll do it, but if I don't, I hope you guys forgive me. But I hope to reach out and do another podcast, maybe post-storm on Friday, and we'll see how that goes. But any new news, I'll send it. I love you guys. Stay safe, and I'll see you after. Bye, y'all.